Welcome to another edition of Sound Advice. And in this edition of Sound Advice, we are going to be talking about the knobs on the compressing, compressor as your attack time, release time, uh, the threshold. We're going to be talking about all of those things and how they work so that you know how to properly control the dynamics of a sound source. So if this interests you, please stay tuned as we get into the functionality of the knobs of the compressor.
Okay, let's jump right into it. Okay, let's talk about ratio. All right. Ratio is the intensity. Think of ratio as intensity. And a high ratio is more aggressive, like a 10 to 1 ratio. Okay. And a low ratio is more gentle, more subtle, like a 2 to 1 ratio. Okay. So you may not want the compressor to be heard, or where it has a pumping, or where you can tell that like some compression going on. You want it to sound more natural, so you don't need as much compression, okay, on the source, if that's the goal, is to have the vocals or the instrument to sound natural. The next thing is the threshold, okay? And threshold is the amount of compression, okay? So lower threshold is less compression, and a higher threshold is more compression. So normally you would dial in your threshold until you start seeing your meters moving. You start seeing some gain reduction going on. That's how you know, okay, you're getting some compression going on. Okay. And then we have a knee. Okay. And a knee, I really don't mess with the knee. I leave it like where it's at. But basically the knee, it controls the threshold. So it's like a fine tune for the threshold. So say you have what you're compressing on the threshold, but you say, "Ooh, I need a little more," but you really don't want to use by move the amount of compression you're already using. You want to use the amount of threshold that you're already using. You want to leave that where it's at, and then you want to kind of tweak with your knee that could bring in what you're listening for, or the goal that you have set of what kind of compression that you're trying to gain. So a soft knee can make the signal transition from no compression to compression more subtle. Okay, that's what a soft knee. Okay, and then with a hard knee, compressors react more aggressively. Okay, so now that we've looked at the knee, and by the way, like, start just turning knobs, listening to what the compressor's doing. This is to get you to be encouraged to start turning your knobs and start hearing what a compressor does, because the better you can hear what your compressor is doing, the better you can compress your sources, and where you can better control the dynamics of your sources. Okay, so let's look at the attack. The attack is the punch. Okay, the punch that you want. So a slow attack is going to bring out more punch. A slow attack is going to bring more punch out of the kick. A slow attack is going to bring more punch out of the vocals. You're going to hear more of the consonants and stuff like that out of the vocals. So a lot of times people are squashing and they're taking away that punch and don't know that they're doing it with the attack knob. Okay, so that's when it's like, oh, you're using too much compression because you're taking the punch away from the source. And so you want to listen to when you're dialing in your attack, where you, because you still want to have that punchiness to come out. You know, you want those vocals to punch out. You want that snare to punch out. You want that kick drum to punch out. You know, so you want to use that slow attack time. You know, but then you may need to control it a little bit and bring it down a little more with a little bit more attack. You know, so just be mindful that attack is your punch. All right, and then the release is your low level detail. Okay, it brings up the low level detail. So a faster release, then it can faster release time. The parts are brought up more. With a faster release time, you can hear those softer parts. They're brought up more. And then with a slower release time, the parts are brought down. Those low level detail parts are brought down. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to show you another compressor, just to save some time. This is a you know, you can look at this compressor and say it's totally different as far as the functionality, because you don't have a knee, you don't have a attack, you don't have a release. Okay, all you have is something they call a gain and peak reduction. Okay, so peak reduction is more of your threshold. Okay, because this compressor has a fixed attack time that we will not mess with, we can't mess with, and it has a fixed release time that we can't mess with. And the only thing that we can do is, if we want a more of a higher ratio, say a 10-to-1 ratio, we have to flip the switch up to limit. And then if we want a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio, we have to do it here. But I don't know what the ratios are. I didn't run across it in the manual when I read it. All it said about the attack and release is that it was like a gentle attack and release time, but you know, it has its own attack and we can't mess with it. Okay, but you dial in your peak reduction, which is your threshold. You dial that in, and then you can compensate that with the gain knob to bring up the source of however much, you know, if you're compressing 3 dB, well, you can bring up that 3 dB, you know, to where it's back to where it needs to be, you know, after you have started compressing. So that's the whole thing, you know, with these from my stock compressor that came with Studio One to this third-party compressor from Universal Audio. At the end of the day, all they do is control the dynamic range. And yes, they do have a character. This LA2A does have a character to it. It does have a character to it. And like I will say on the stock compressor, no, this is a transparent compressor. What goes in is what comes out. All it's going to do is compress the sound. Okay, but you can control more of how you going to compress with this compressor. Okay, so you know, so those are kind of the different styles of compressors, but I just want to dial in that there are some differences, but they all still do a job, and that is the compressor job is to control the dynamics. Okay, so I hope this video has helped. We're going to go up to the black chair to close this out. And okay, I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Okay, welcome back. And I hope this was able to clear up the functionalities of the knobs that are on the compressor and how we are able to control the dynamics through using these knobs. I just want to let you know that the most important knobs on the compressor to really dial in how much control you want to have over your dynamics is really that attack time and release time. You know, so please work with this. Go into your DAW, pull up something, and start messing with the knobs. Turn the knobs and start hearing what compression sounds like. So because we're going to get into where we're going to start turning knobs and showing you how compression is sounding, but it's something that you have to just continuously do so that you'll get that in your head, that how compression is sounding, so you can hear when you're using too much compression or not enough compression. So I hope this was very informative. Once again, check out my website at soundadviceforyou.com with the letter U. Please follow me on Instagram. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and everything like that. And I've been Jeff. I am Jeff McKenzie. This is Sound Advice, and I'll see you on the next one.